we were tracking, and it was only like 7 at night, but it was kind of dark because it was rainy. Like, for once, it was rainy in California. But anyway, and so we knocked on this door, and the guy's like, I'm really not interested. And we're like, whoa, okay, calm down. I would be like, cámate. That's how you say calm down in Espanol. But anyway, and I didn't say that to him. I thought it though. And so we left, and a few, like 10 minutes later, we saw this cop car. And he like drove, like we were standing here, he like drove, and we're like, oh, they must be looking for someone. We should probably get out of here. And then he drove this way again towards us, and he stopped the car, and we're like, is he looking for us? And he got out of the car, he's like, someone called us because they thought you were suspicious. And we're like, oh, it was the mean guy, wasn't he? He called the cops on us. And so it was just kind of awkward, because then he like he took our licenses and had to check our criminal records, and we're like, we didn't do anything. But it was funny because I'm very honest. And so I was like, officer, I'm gonna say, if I was a burglar, not saying I am, but if I was, I probably wouldn't knock on the door asking if people want to hear about Jesus. That's just my opinion. But I mean, hey, I'm not a burglar, so I don't know. Anyway, but it was just awkward, like, Amanda Berg. Yep. Rock Tavern, New York. She's clear? Good. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I'm clear. But anyway, that was a funny story. My email that week, the title was, Carlsbad's Most Wanted. I'm on the list. Even though, so I spoke Spanglish on my mission because I speak fluent Spanish, but I was called to speak English. But in a lot of areas, it was very Mexican and no one spoke English, so you would speak Spanish even if you were an English-speaking missionary. But my companion didn't speak Spanish, even though her mom was from Chile. But anyway, so we met this guy, and he's just started talking to us, and we're like, hey, how you doing? Anyway, and long story short, his friend put his arms up and was like talking in tongues. And then he was like, can you close your eyes? I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm going to pray with you. Okay, that's fine. This was all in Spanish, so my companion had no idea what was happening. And so then we were close, and we went like this. And he took oil and put it on his finger and started going like this on our heads and being like, sus almas son libres, which means like, your souls are free, which very much means he was performing an exorcism on us. And we were like, which I thought was hilarious, because I'm like, this is not going to do anything because I'm not possessed. But my companion was like brand new to the mission, like 2 weeks into the mission. I was like a year, so I was used to these people. And when we got out, she's like, did they perform an exorcism on us? I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what they were trying to do. And then she's like, but it didn't work. I'm like, probably because we're not possessed. But anyway, that was funny. It was more funny because she had no idea what was happening, and she was just a little baby. Oh, good times. And then another time, we were checking on a referral that we got named Carlos at this apartment, and we knocked on the door. I was on an exchange, so I was with another missionary for the day, and we were just like, I guess they're not home. And then all of a sudden, the door starts shaking, and you start hearing screaming, and you know that feeling where you're like, I need to get out right now? Yeah, I had one of those feelings. So we ran to our other investigators' apartment, and we're like banging on the door, like, let us in, we're so scared. And then they let us in. They're like, what? And we're like, we went to go visit Carlos. And they're like, don't go to that apartment. And we're like, oh, because he was like demonic or something. But I promise there's no demons in the California Carlsbad mission. It's beautiful. Oh, I had a creepy investigator that stalked me, and when I got home, he added me on Facebook and Instagram and Skype and I'm like, how did you get all this information? That was awkward. And he texted me, and I'm like, anyway, that was awkward.